important questions going on here today. How many of you guys find yourself feeling helpless against the violence that's happening around the planet? If that's you, go ahead and raise your hand. How many of you guys out there joining us today are parents? Whew, that make me a little emotional. And do you feel nervous sending your kids to school in this day and age with what's going on out there? If that's you, come on in, share this out with friends, because we're going to be talking about this today. How many of you guys have had conversations in your own family about whether or not equipping teachers with guns or gun control is a part of this topic and can be part of the solution? How many of you guys have actually found yourself talking about whether or not you should have guns when you're going out on the street? Again, if you are saying yes to any of these questions, I'm going to invite you to share this out to your friends and your family. This is a really important topic. You can tell that it's already stirring emotion in me. I'm very passionate about this idea of how we can go about ending violence in our planet today. And I've got a very peaceful friend and fellow dude here talking about it with me, Coach Nick Pereira. Coach Nick is not only my partner at the Akashic Academy and teaching us all really amazing ways to create freedom in our life with our spiritual businesses, but he is a student of Bhakti Yoga, and he has taught me some of the most peaceful bits of wisdom that I've been able to take with me in my life. And you know, sometimes when somebody says something in a particular way, when they construct a sentence a particular way, and you hear it, it's like, wow, it just resonates very deep. That's what Coach Nick does for me. He has a way of speaking to my soul that I recognize the truth that he's sharing. And it all comes from a place of love and peace. So I'm really happy to have you here with me today, my friend and partner, to share your views on peace and violence and what we can do about it. So welcome to the show. Everybody say hi to Coach Nick.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. And, I appreciate just being a partner here at the Akashic Academy. We've got a wonderful community growing, as you can see. People are plugging in, and really, thanks to you for setting that space and intention. I met you. Oh, I don't know how long it's been now. It's been maybe a year, 2 years, maybe now, something. I don't even know. That. Yeah, time kind of disappears when we're connecting and doing our thing, which is always a good thing. So I appreciate everything that you've taught me and bring to the table, especially with knowing who I am on, sort of those, what I call like mystic powers, or the ability to do some things with this body that I've never really explored before, or really never took too seriously until I was in your space. So I really appreciate everything that our partnership is bringing and what you're bringing out to the world. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a pleasure. All right, Coach Nick, before we get into this serious topic, let's have a little fun with everybody. You ready for our puppet show?
Totally. I've been working hard on this one.
I know you have. Yes, you have. All right. I'm going to pull up your favorite comment here from last week, and I'm going to share it with everybody. I'm going to copy it and put it right on in here in the comments. Let's see. There we go. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
On the count of three, Coach Nick is going to share his favorite comment from last week. 1, 2, 3.
Bam. We've got Vanessa Gladney that's with us. And, we were talking about negative news. We were talking about, do we watch the news? Do we not watch the news? And Vanessa said, she said, amen. I bless while I watch the news, for the time I watch is shorter and shorter. What I appreciated so much about your comment, Vanessa, was that, we all watch the news a little bit. Like, I don't watch the news, at home. We don't have cable television. So we don't have available news to us. My Facebook feed is very clean. I delete things that don't resonate with me or don't bring my spirits or vibe. But with all that, I cannot help but hearing things, because we're all connected. So we all know what's going on, and we all see we all get connected. And what I love about Vanessa's comments was how she deals with it, and saying that she blesses it while she watches it, which is, I think, is a great piece of advice and a great way to counteract the negative news that is thrown at us. So thank you so much, Vanessa. I hope you enjoy yourself in puppet form. It's like looking in a mirror. I know.
Awesome. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to share with you my favorite comment from last week, which comes to us from the one and only Jen Thornton. Jen is not actually a nun, everybody. I just when we pick our favorite comments, I go troll in your Facebook feed and I look at the pictures you have. And this just really shared a fun aspect of Jen's personality. She definitely is very warm and caring and positive and person on the spiritual quest, but she's just playing around here being a nun with us. What Jen said is the guilting is rough. We're already made to feel guilty about our natural feelings. Why add more? And I love this because well, first of all, it's true. How many of us experience guilt over whatever feelings are coming up? Mom guilt, that's a real thing right there. There are so many ways that we make ourselves feel guilty, and it's so detrimental to our overall energy field. You can't really get anywhere with moving up that spiritual scale of making your vibration higher if you're going to roll around in guilt. And Jen is ready to let it go. So Jen, thank you for holding that space, for letting go of the self-guilt. Time to shake it off, shake it loose. And I'm thankful for you for holding that space for us, because, so many times we just really need to give our permission to let go of the guilt. And when one of us gives permission to ourselves, it makes it easier for everyone else around us. So Jen, you're creating a domino effect for us in this space to let it go of the guilt. And I think that's awesome. So you get a high five and a puppet made of you today. All right. So let's share a little Academy news. What's going on in the Academy, Nick?
Yeah, fantastic. So before we get into a very important subject, of course, we're going to share a little bit of Academy news so you guys can know what is happening inside the Akashic Academy. So first of all, coming up this week, you, Emily, are doing a very special edition of your show, Lightworkers Connect. So we're all excited for that, where you're going to have your good friend Steve Nobel as your guest. Now, Steve's famous around these parts. He's famous for his meditation. So you're going to be interviewing Steve Nobel at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Guys, the event has already been created on the page. So after the show, make sure you go down, get a notification, a reminder to get notified when Emily and Steve go live. Second piece of news, we had a show premiere on the Akashic page. As you guys know, we've got daily shows happening here. We continuously adding more shows, and we're just getting started and warmed up. There's a massive vision that's happening and that's being created right now with the Academy. So congratulations to Robin. Robin, her show is Conversations with Gaia, and she's got her own deck. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's a really powerful lady, and you're able to watch her show now on the Akashic page. So again, make sure that you're going and getting reminders and notifications for our show hosts so that you can know when we go live. So thank you so much. Last piece of news quickly is we want to give a big shout out to Nina Busby. Nina has shared her story with us and about her own process of awakening, her own spiritual path. And it's actually going to be featured in our upcoming magazine, the Akashic magazine. And when does the next magazine due? I think it's April 1st.
The next magazine drops April 1st, yo.
Yeah, April 1st, we're dropping that. I think Emily's been watching some hip hop, or something, listening to some hip hop over the weekend. I'm not sure, but we're bringing in that gangster vibe today. So, Nina, thank you so much for, first of all, contributing your story to the magazine. We appreciate you sharing your story, and we want to encourage all of you out there, if you want to be featured in the Akashic magazine, you want to be part of the community, write us your story. We want to know what is going on with your spiritual journey, what is going on with your awakening process. We love to share those stories, so we definitely want to hear with you. So that's a few of the points that's happening in Academy news. Emily, let's dive into today's topic about ending violence. Obviously it's a hot topic right now, what happened in Florida. And then, of course, we're living the ripple effect of the events of that, and lots of heated discussions, lots of heated debates going on about what to do. Let's hear your thoughts on this subject.
Well, it's kind of forced me to tune in a little bit more to the news, which I don't normally love to do, but my husband's been really watching it. You guys know that he's an educator. He is a development director at a really awesome private school up in the Lake Tahoe area. And of course, I have young kids. I've got 3 kids who go to school every single day. And my oldest one comes home and talks about You know, there's a particular kid around there who has anger issues. He got sent home from school because he got mad and pushed a kid. And it starts to stir up that mom nature inside of me. And I'm watching at the way people are breaking down the solution or what we need to do. And of course, they're, you know, screaming at Trump to create gun control and get guns off of the streets. And then some people are saying, no, we all need to be able to have guns. I actually live in the state of Nevada where it's pretty darn easy to get a conceal and carry permit so that you can actually carry your gun concealed with you. And I just I get so frustrated and so sad. First of all, my mom heart, so enough said, right? That emotion gets triggered in me. But then I see all these people, I see the fighting continuing between people trying to figure out what the solution is. And from a spiritual standpoint, from an energetic standpoint, I look at how the ripple effect is just causing more fighting amongst people. And I get so frustrated. I'm like, guys, no, we've got it all wrong. We've got it all wrong. I also see these kids from a perspective of being a mom and recognizing they're in so much pain that they don't know what to do with this pain. They've been shut out from society. Our society is constructed in a way right now where there is so much stress that builds up, and we haven't been taught how to deal with the stress. We are bombarded with images constantly that tell us how we're not good enough, how, you know, we have to follow this certain protocol to be able to fit in, to be cool, whether it's having the right clothes or the right products or the right hair, whatever it is. Our society needs to take a dramatic turn, and in my opinion, doesn't have jack shit to do with guns and whether we have guns or whether we don't have guns. And it's really important to me to share with you guys and to inspire not only you guys watching here, but to continue this movement after this show today and inspire people to recognize that it goes back to being heart-centered. When we learn to love ourselves and we learn to equip our bodies with ways to handle the stress and ways to deal with the difficult emotions that are going on inside of us, we change the planet. And that's not something that's even talked about or very well respected on our planet right now. How simple would it be to bring meditation into schools and to give students that opportunity to learn how to deal with the things that are going on inside of their being? I actually am so passionate about this, and I feel like it's such a simple answer, not only to bring meditation into schools, but bring it even down to the family level, and then bring it even down to your own personal level. If you're not meditating on a daily basis, you got to wake up and you got to jump in and you got to start getting active. I've included in the comments here for you guys how you can get a hold of your congressman, your local congressman, and your local senators. And I'm gonna give you guys all a call to action today. I'm gonna do it myself. I want you to find out who these people are. Use the links that I sent you. Reach out to them. Call for meditation class to be in schools. It can be as simple as 10 minutes at the beginning of the day. Heck, we've got Steve Nobel creating these amazing meditations free on YouTube. Play one of those on YouTube daily. Play that in your family. Have a different standard for yourself that allows you to tune into the energies of peace and self-love, because we have grown to a space where we lack respect for each other. We lack that respect and love for ourselves. And we have to go back to the most minute aspect of learning how to love ourselves and to be in a state of peace within our own being. What's happening out in the world on a bigger scale is only a reflection of what's going on in here. And I promise you can make a difference just by how you address your own energy with inside of your own body. And it's so much more simple than we're making it right now. That's what I have to say about this subject, Nick. What are your thoughts on the situation? Then I'm going to do an activation for everybody to get us back into that heart space, but
yeah,
share a little bit
fantastic.
before I do that.
Yeah, sure. So guys, first of all, if I do invite you to leave comments. We see comments coming in and appreciate the comments. Definitely want to know your thoughts on it and share this video out, because again, it's such an important subject that is happening. It's such an important topic, and it's really, I guess, a hot topic. It's on people's forefronts. Well, I guess what I would say about ending violence is I agree with Emily with that idea of like, we have to go within and end the violence within ourselves, right? We have to end the war within ourselves and really learn to be at peace. And one of the things that comes to my mind is the material fever that we're experiencing. What I mean by material fever is our life is very materially based. It's about getting more, being more. It's about status. And this is causing so many people to not feel worthy, to not feel included in society, to not feel like they are part of the whole, when we are all part and parcel of the whole. So everybody matters, everybody's important, but everybody within themselves has to recognize that they matter, that their actions matter, their thoughts matter, right? I can tell you you matter, but it doesn't matter unless you know it, right? Unless you realize that for yourself. So I think that when we're talking about ending violence, first of all, we have to know that this isn't just happening now, right? And we tend to flare up when an incident happens, and we flare up. And then in a month from now, it's not going to be a subject anymore. Something else will happen. So I think that if we really truly want to end violence, we have to not just wait till something flares up to all of a sudden get passionate about the subject. That it is something that it has been a human problem. I also like to address that UN numbers state that violence in our world has actually gone down. So overall, the news is pumping out that it's a more violent world and but in actual numbers and stats, and you can do your own research to verify, is that violence overall is going down as we evolve, because we understand we are one. So I want everybody to recognize that the overall pattern is we're headed in the right direction. However, we still have incidents that, of course, flare up. It still shows us where we need to grow. So on the personal level, I agree with Emily that it's time to do a check-in with yourself and really learn to deal with your own anger, your own frustration. Only when you remember, you can only give what you have. So if you don't have love to give, if you don't have peace to give because you're at turmoil, there's no speaking of giving peace to the world. Peace has to be created within yourself. Once it is created within yourself, then you can come from a peaceful energy and bring it to the world and say, all right, guys, let's talk about this and let's actually do something. And I do agree that meditation, I know in my own life, meditation has really allowed me to reduce the anger, the frustration, the reactive behavior, that fight, flight, or freeze, and that ability to deal with some worldly stresses that we all have to go through. And I think that our inability to cope with worldly stresses and being too material in nature is putting unnecessary stress on our system. So I think that it's not a matter of gun control or no gun control. Let the politicians deal with that. They're going to argue about that. Most of them are interested in power and not interested in actually serving. So they will take stances that further their cause of power. What we need is real leaders who say, hey, this isn't about right or left, right or wrong. This is about getting to the root of the problem. Why is it that we feel that violence is an answer in the first place, right? Gun control, no gun control. I said this to you, Emily, in a private conversation we're having. I said, put a gun in the hand of a monk and nothing's going to happen. Put a Bible in the hand of an extremist and something bad's going to happen. So at the end of the day, it is not the gun itself, the teachings itself. It is your consciousness that you're bringing to the table. And I think that's where we can all do a personal check-in and say, how am I contributing to the collective and global consciousness? And that's where the work is going to be done.
I love it that you shared that idea about it's where your consciousness sits, like where your consciousness is writing. Because as I learn to find language to help explain energetically what the hell's going on the planet right now, here's what it is, guys. The consciousness is meant to reside in the heart space, not up here in the brain. When we had the last major fall of society, okay, when and whether you feel like that time was the Egyptians or whether you feel like that time was the Romans or the ancient Atlanteans, even the time of ancient Atlantis and Lemuria, what happened is that consciousness that used to be in the heart space fell. It actually moved up into the brain. But we fell out of grace with having our consciousness reside in the space of our heart, and it's now in the brain. And so as we evolve and we move to this next level of evolution, spiritual evolution on our planet, and if you've been hanging out for me, you know I use words like 3D and 5D. So as we're moving from 3D into 4D up into 5D, how we get to 5D is by taking the consciousness that resides in the brain and shifting it back into the heart space and learning to have that a processing mechanism of life be in the space of the heart. Scientifically, it is understood now that the heart has neurons that can process thoughts and emotions just like the brain does. Okay, so we're going to do a little process here today to get our consciousness back into our heart space. And I want to share with you guys the idea of the more of us that do this, the more it becomes available to the rest of the planet. Okay, I shared yesterday when I was just doing a little breathing with you guys here on the page that there's a concept in bees, all bees who are in the hive together. When one bee develops a new skill or new understanding, within nanoseconds, the rest of the bees in the colony then have that same ability just by the sharing of consciousness. So I want you to recognize how important it is that you do this and how powerful it is. I want you to let go of the idea that you're one person and you can't make a difference, because energetically, you're making a powerful difference by just dropping into this space, okay? So we're just gonna do it very simply. We're just gonna use our breath like I love to do. We're gonna get our breath synchronized together. So I want you to watch me, watch the inhalation of my lungs and the exhalation, and just begin to synchronize your breath with me. And very simply, we're just going to tap on the heart space, and I want you to imagine the consciousness, all of the brain power that you're using to process this show, to listen to the things that we're talking about. I want you to gather up that consciousness inside of your mind, okay, as we're breathing together. And I want you to, with your imagination, see that consciousness sinking down into the heart space, okay? I'm explaining it before I go into doing it, because once we do it, I'm going to be silent. We're going to do this together in silence. I'm not going to be explaining as we go, but that's what it is that I want you guys to do. All right, so we're going to go through the synchronizing of breath now. Deep breath in. Have your hand on your heart. Good. Now that we're all breathing in unison, I want you to start the process of gathering the consciousness and call it into the heart space with the tapping. Keep breathing. I'm just calling forward now all of the divine light teams of everybody working here together, all of the masters, the teachers, the loved ones, the guides, the archangels that each one of us individually work with, asking that they form a circle around us with their energy, and just asking that this new level of consciousness residing in our heart be sealed in place for each one of us. And if as we're moving through the day, we find that our consciousness has moved back up into the area of our mind, that we can just very easily and effortlessly drop it back into our heart space. So be it, and so it is. And you can go ahead and release the meditation, release the activation, come back slow. Depending on how much meditating, how awake your light body is, you're going to feel different things. Go ahead and share with us anything that you guys are feeling. And if I want to let you know, if you're not feeling any sensations or any movement inside of your body, that's okay. The energy is still working on you. The activation is still working inside of your being, regardless of what you notice happening. But I do invite you to tune your awareness to begin noticing, because that will increase your level of awareness in your life as well as your psychic abilities. So go ahead and notice what you're feeling. Are you feeling anything, Coach Nick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime that we bring attention to our heart, immediately parts of the brain begin to silence. And that's ultimately what we want. And especially right now in heated debates, people are taking a stance this way or that way. What is right? What is wrong? You know, calling the president to what are you going to do about this? You know, I love when it was I think it was John F. Kennedy who said, "Don't ask what you can do for your don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country."
Mm-hmm.
So, Emily, has put the link to the congressman and different political figures so that you can find out who your political leaders are and send messages. I would ask when you do it from a heart space.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting bombarded with angry messages. If you want your message to be heard, you have to come from a different energy. You have to cut through the noise. If you just join the protest, do something, do something, do something. You know, maybe rather than saying do something, do something, do something, say, hey, here's an idea that I would like to bring to the table and I would like to lead and do. What society ultimately, from my perspective, needs is more people actually stepping up and saying, rather than saying you do something, saying here's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then let your congressman know, let your politicians know, here's what I like to do, and have them back you up on it. And if you're able to bring ideas that you're willing to lead, you're going to get heard a lot more because the crowd is screaming for somebody else to do something. But very few people are saying, here's what I can do. And, you know, depending how close you are to the incident, then you are going to be coming at different spaces. So also show compassion for those who are angry, for those who are hurting, you know, weep for them, have compassion for them, show, you know, understand that everybody was going to come from a different space depending how close you are to it. So everybody can bring value to it because we're all part of the human family. And at the same time, let's respect and understand that depending how close you are to the incident, you will be in a different emotional state. So, you know, be the observer a bit in the situation if you're able to. And if you're not, because you're close to it and it's really emotional for you, then that's fine. Feel the emotion of it, but also recognize that you're not the only one. Try not to feel a victim in it, and try as best as you can to feel powerful in yourself to say, what is it that I am going to do? And then bring those ideas to society, bring it out to the forefront. Don't play small. We have enough people playing small. We need more people playing big and stepping up and taking action where action is required. Those are my thoughts on it.
I love it. I love it. We're coming to the end of our time here. So I just want to remind you guys that we have an amazing lineup of shows here on the Akashic Academy Facebook page coming up tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So before my interview with Steve, you guys can binge watch with us tomorrow at the Akashic Academy. We have Jessica Sutherland, the Intergalactic Frontiers woman, who has a really popular and powerful show. And of course, inside the Akashic Academy, we are creating the space for people to really dive in and make their spiritual growth a priority. Coach Nick and I are each bringing new workshops. And by workshops, I mean, not only are we teaching, but we're doing a process. Just like we do an activation here together, we are doing a process that is moving us forward in our own spiritual growth. So if you're interested in connecting with us inside of the Akashic Academy, I invite you to reach out to me. You can reach out to Coach Nick. I'll leave the links for that as well. And I just want to, let's close out today I want to show you guys this. This is victory pose, okay? Everybody get your arms up because we are the change. We are going to create lasting change on the planet. We are shifting the way the world works. And just when you get yourself up in victory pose like this, you begin to uplift your energy. You begin to step into the victor that you are. And you're here on the planet at this point in time to affect change. So as we say goodbye, we'll say goodbye in victory pose with each other here. I do have to put my arm down, though, to end the broadcast. I do it with my nose. I'm going to be like, oh. Bye, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you here again. Yeah.